Hi, it's week 2 here at Harvestbarn. Let's have a look at what's happening. I'm shouting because the camera is not picking up sound very well. Let's have a look over here at the beds. As I explained last week, I'm going to be trying to make 60 beds this autumn. I dug over 11 last week, just done one this afternoon. I'll hopefully do another couple today. It takes about an hour to do each one and it's quite hard work, so I'm having a bit of a rest between each one, so it's quite slow going. I'd like to get maybe 5 done this week, so that will be a total of 15. That should give me enough space to plant everything I want to plant this autumn, and if I can dig the rest over the autumn ready for next spring, that would be great. So you can see this down here is the beds that I did last week. There's 10 of them. It's quite hard to see the difference between where I've dug and where I haven't dug. So here you can see the boundary between the beds and the no beds. I guess the main difference is that the soil where I've dug shouldn't have much couch grass root in it, whereas the rest of the field has a lot of couch grass root. And the aim of the digging is to form the beds so that they are easy to plant and manage, and also to get rid of the couch grass root, which would be a big problem if I was to plant straight into it without weeding. I'm hoping that there won't be too much weed pressure this autumn, but you can see a few little seedlings coming up, and I will be hoeing them. The best thing to do with those would be to get a flame weeder and go over them when the seedlings are very small, but I haven't got a flame weeder, so I'll have to stick to the hoe for now. And I may be getting some silage tarpaulin to put over the beds that I'm not going to plant into, and that will keep the weed pressure down until I'm ready to plant them. So, gratefully this particular bed seems to be very free of couch grass, so it's quite easy to just dig it over. Just loosening the soil really, and making sure that there's no roots that could grow and cause problems later when I come to plant up. So here is the couch grass roots, just so you can see what it looks like. There's not much grass, it's mostly just the root at the moment because the tractor has been over. Apparently you can get rid of couch grass by going over with a plough and raking it out every month for a few months, but I haven't got time to do that. Someone like Charles Dowding might go for no dig, where they would just mulch the ground with cardboard or manure and leave it over the winter, and then in the spring hopefully most of it would have gone, but I haven't got time to do that either for this section anyway. So you can see some of these roots are quite fibrous, and they will grow through things like potatoes and onions, and they go quite long, and you only need a little section left in the soil and it will grow into a new plant. So they're quite difficult to deal with. This tool is called a broad fork, or a grelinette in French, which is where I got it. And the idea behind this is you can aerate the soil, loosen the soil without turning it over, which is not very good for the soil. But even people like Charles Dowding, who advocates no dig farming, would say that it's not necessary to use this tool. In fact, he's done trials that show that beds with no dig as opposed to using the broad fork actually produce more vegetables. So it's debatable whether this is useful, especially in this soil which is very light anyway, but I'm going to use it to start off with, but I may not continue through the year to use it. A very rare stone. Not many stones in this soil. So the next bed to dig will be 4D, and I'm thinking if I can dig all the beds in block 4, then I will just cover blocks 2, 3, 5 and 6 with tarpaulin, silage tarpaulin, and then when I get the BCS walking tractor I can form the beds with that and just keep the silage tarp on, and hopefully there won't be too much regrowth of the couch grass. So this is exciting. I've got the JP1 Jang seeder here, which up till now I've only ever seen mainly in use on Curtis Stone, the urban farmer at Green City Acres in Kelowna, Canada, using. But I thought this was probably going to be pretty important to make the farm as efficient as possible. That's the hopper. Those are the rollers. So this is going to be used for sowing seeds as quickly as possible. And this is the last bit. So here is the Jang seeder, all set up. Didn't take long, only 2 or 3 bits to put together. What will be a bit more time consuming is calibrating it so that I know how many seeds should be dropped at a certain time. That determines the thickness of the seed spacing, so I'll have to work that out over time. But it's here I am just trialing the seeder without any seeds in it, adjusting the handle so it can be pushed from the path. Actually the scraper on the back wheel was too stiff, so I needed to loosen that. So here you can see the nursery at Delfland, where they grow thousands and thousands of transplants to send all around the country for people that don't want to grow their own plants from seed. So I've just picked up 8 trays of seedlings from Delfland. These are Chinese mustard ruby streaks, and then there's Chinese mustard golden streaks over there. This is mustard giant red. Here we've got winter purslane. This is Mibuna. Then we've got lettuce Arctic King, spinach herbette or leaf beet, and corn salad granon, and lettuce winter density. I'm having a lot of problems with sound with this camera. Well, one main problem, that is I can't hear myself talking on the camera. So I'm going to have to speak up a bit and sit very close to the camera. So I'm just about to plant the first plants now in bed 4B. And that is mustard golden streaks, as you can see in the background. Looks like that. And planting them 3 rows to a bed. The rows are 22 centimeters apart and the plants are 17 centimeters apart. So I'm doing that quite slowly. Hopefully I'll get faster, otherwise it's going to take me a long time. But I'm now going to plant them because it's quite windy and I don't want them to dry out. I would normally, I say normally, I haven't ever done this before on this scale on my own land, but I would put them all out and then plant them, but because of the wind I'm going to put them all in now. Right, that's the second tray in of mustard purple streaks. I'm not happy about that because lots of them were breaking off as I was pulling them out of the plugs. I guess I could have taken more care, but I'm trying to do it quickly. Hello, good evening. I guess this is the end of day 5 here on the farm at Harvestbarn. Making okay progress, I think. Difficult to know. You can see bed 4B is now planted up with Chinese mustard, ruby streaks and golden streaks. There's another 4 beds there ready for planting on this side. This bed is going to have flowers in it, maybe a couple of rose bushes, some tulips, narcissus, and then block A over there is going to have mostly cabbage in and some spinach. It's about 16 degrees now and it's a little bit windy. A bit worried about the wind drying out the mustard. This job of placing the transplants and planting them is one of the hardest jobs, and I'll need to get better at over time to save time and have less strain on my body, but it gets easier with time. That's a tray of Arctic King gone out. There's a bit of space at the end, so maybe when I plant them in I will space them out a little bit further. Interesting question. So I've planted 2 beds, one of lettuce, one of Chinese mustard. What do you think that will bring me in terms of money, from 0 to, who knows, £50, £100, £200? We don't know how much one bed will make. You probably can't see me, which is no bad thing. I've just finished planting in the lettuce winter density in bed 4D, and it's time to stop for the evening. Giant red mustard. I was a bit worried about the wind last night, that it would dry out these transplants that I put in, and Colin has brought the water container over, so we've just got up a drip irrigation system which is doing its job. Day 6 here at Harvestbarn. Just finished planting half a bed of spinach, a bet, and those are the other beds that I've already talked about. I'm hoping that it's going to rain tonight because it's a bit dry and it's very windy now, so I'm not sure how long these will last without a bit of water. I have been using this container to do some watering, but it's a bit patchy, so a little shower tonight would be great. I'll be planting in cabbages, digging the last of the 3 beds for block 4. And that's it for the second week. Just got to rush back to Norwich now to take the car to the garage, and then tomorrow I'm doing a day of geography cover in a Norwich school. See you next week. Don't forget to like these videos and subscribe, please.